The Meyer the Merrier is a family of 5 who left the United States for Koh Samui, Thailand in search of a life-enriching experience for our family. Please follow along on our adventures. I'm Jacqueline and this is Steve, and this is episode 2 of the feedback about the White Lotus, where we explain some of the things that might have been a little bit of a mystery when you watched the show. The channel is The Meyer the Merrier. Did I say that already? Okay. Luckily, he listens to every word that drops from my lips. So, episode 2, so just kind of moving through it, we will talk a little bit about this opening scene where there's someone that's putting a couple of hammocks up. They're on a paddleboard. They're paddleboarding around the beach in order to do that. Now, we have seen paddleboards around
paddleboards all over the place.
And even just, for instance, sometimes we take the kids to lunch at a little restaurant in Lamai called the Black Pearl. We love it. Mm-hmm. The food's very good. The service is amazing, and it's right on the beach, and the kids can play in the surf. And they have a couple of just paddleboards that the kids paddle around on.
And they also have a bunch of chairs and bean bags and stuff to sit on. They provide towels, so it's great.
It's nice. Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of kids love to go paddleboarding there, and I've seen it. A lot of the other beachfront places have them as well.
Yes, exactly. Now, again, moving through, so we're just going to talk a little bit as we move through the storyline. You see Mook and Getak get off of their motorbikes as they enter work, as they start their work day. There's a giant motorbike parking there, scooter parking, whatever you want to call it. And you will see this in a lot of different places. There are a lot of places where you can only park scooters and motorbikes, so you have to make sure that your car isn't parked there if you're actually driving a car. But again, motorbikes are one of the ways, one of the most common ways.
Most people get around on the island.
To get around the island, that's right.
Luckily, because otherwise there would be a lot more car traffic.
That's true. There is a lot of traffic, and especially during certain times of the year, there's more traffic.
Okay. Oh, lunch. That's what we want to talk about now. It's also very common to walk into a place, and people will just be having their lunch behind the counter and
right.
Haven't taken a minute to eat, because usually they work some pretty long hours, I think, if you're running a store and things like that. So that's just...
So I think sometimes people will work like a 12-hour day, and they might work 6-7 days a week. So you might walk in and see somebody eating their lunch, and they might be kind of sneaking it behind the counter, or they might be just sitting on the phone in their little kiosk, just watching a TV show, waiting for customers to come in. In the United States, this would be a complete no-no and completely unacceptable.
We were having lunch at one of our favorite restaurants last Sunday, and our server delivered our food, and then he disappeared, and then he came back, and he was time for my lunch too, and he sat down and behind the counter, and he was eating his lunch while we were eating our lunch, and it's perfectly fine.
Was I there?
Yeah. Oh no, you weren't.
I was
outside. You were in
Manila.
Okay. Yeah, but it was perfectly fine, and everything's fine. But it's common.
All right. So no wonder I missed that. So that explains that. So then there's a part where Mook comes back to Chelsea and Rick, and she's telling them what they have on their docket for the day. Mm-hmm. And it's a little hard to hear, but she actually says, Miss Chelsea, and then she says, Koon Rick. Koon Rick. And Koon can mean you, but it also can mean kind of like Mr., a non-gender specific sign of respect. Yeah. So instead of saying, Mr. Meyer, she might say Koon Meyer. So moving through the storyline, you see there is a massage that's taking place. And there are several massages during the course of the story. But, generally, our experience, I think, mostly is that when you have a massage, there's a foot wash.
Yeah, they wash your feet before you get in.
Now, we have a video that we did, and I think it's part of the expats in Koh Samui. I have a lot of different little vignettes. And it talks about our favorite place to get a massage here on Koh Samui. We go to a place called Yem Siam, which is down... I don't
Lamai.
Even know. Is it Lamai?
It's Lamai,
it might be a little further than Lamai.
It's southern Lamai, but okay. It's Lamai.
All right, and that's a really good place. Very professional. I will also say there's some comments in the show about non-professional massages. we have never been to one of those places, and Yem Siam is excellent. Yeah. So if you want to take a look at that video, you can.
I've seen a lot of people hesitant to go get a massage because they think that
it's all dicey.
It's all dicey, and it's not.
It's not.
I've had probably 1,000 massages
over the course of
course of years in Thailand, and not once have I ever had anything dicey. So
untoward. Okay.
Nobody's ever offered anything dicey, I should say.
It's usually wearing his wedding ring, so I don't know if that helps or hurts. All right, so then Rick is with the meditation expert, and he's having this conversation with her, and he mentions that because of the stress, he's under a high level of stress all the time. He said that weed helps, and he asked if she knows a great weed shop. So I will tell you, I don't know from great weed shop to bad weed shop, but I will say you could walk down anywhere on the ring road and probably some of the side roads here on Samui, and you will find any number of weed shops. So if you are interested in cannabis, there is no shortage of it here, but perhaps
there are
Rick knows more about weed than
we joke around a lot about how many 7-Elevens there are on the island,
and there are an amazing amount.
If you miss one, just drive another couple hundred meters and there'll be another one.
There'll be a 7-Eleven that's
next to the
100 meters from the next
7-Eleven. I think it's probably same with cannabis shops. They are everywhere, so there's no shortage of that.
Now, he also says something else right after that, which is, I don't like to travel with it, meaning his cannabis.
Yeah.
And I will say, smart on Rick's behalf, because you're not supposed to bring your own cannabis into Samui, into Thailand. I don't know.
You can travel from, so my understanding from what I have read, obviously do not bring any cannabis into Thailand, and don't try to bring any cannabis out of Thailand. Recently there was a story where, God, they were smuggling like tremendous amounts.
Well, I don't know if he was even smuggling. I think he just had it in their suitcase.
Like
I don't know if that's considered smuggling. Maybe it is.
36 kilos or something they were trying to bring back to the UK. But my understanding...
But the net is definitely don't try to bring it into Thailand, and do not try to take it out. So we definitely know that
that's
Rick
the takeaway from
that
this.
is the takeaway on that one. All right, and then kind of just going through it a little bit farther, we see the three women that have been friends since they were small children are lounging on the beach. And again, this is kind of what I talked about before. We go to the Black Pearl. I'm sure there are any other.
There's a ton of beach clubs and places where you go. And they have chairs out and service at the chairs. They'll bring you the drinks as long as you're buying some drinks. Have a little bite to eat maybe. You can sit in their chairs. Some places just charge you, like a couple $100 baht to rent a chair. And
I don't even know. Well, maybe
if it's 100 or 200
fancier
baht,
places.
Yeah.
When we were in Phuket, I remember renting some beach chairs for 100 baht, which is like $3.
But most places. Even some of the resorts, not all of them, but I think some of them, if you want to use their stuff, if you come in and, they might make you buy I know there's one place, I don't recall the name of it, but 750 baht per person.
Oh, Outrigger.
Outrigger.
Yeah?
Is that it?
I think so.
I don't know. But anyway, you can use their facilities, and then you can use your credit to buy food, drinks,
So you're not staying at the Outrigger. Yeah. You go to the Outrigger. You give them a sort of a deposit of $750 750 baht a person, which is what, $22.
Yeah, but there are a lot of other places where you can just go and we found a number of places where you can just go grab a chair.
But just as an example, again, the Outrigger. I'm trying to give people an idea about where they can go, so that as long as you get food and beverage, that's the cost of this, then you can use their facilities, and you don't necessarily have to stay at the Outrigger this whole time. So that's a suggestion of a place that you might want to try. Or again, Steve mentions there are lots of other places, and I'm sure there are.
You can just walk up and down the beach and pop in and ask, hey, we're not staying here. We want to have lunch, have some drinks. Can we sit out here? And they'll say yes, or they'll say no.
They are much more likely to say yes during slower seasons. Yes. So when they're full and there's room really only for their guests, I would say you're less likely to be welcome. So during this second episode, there is a scene where Getak is staffing the exit and entrance gate. And Valentine comes to talk to him, and they have a conversation about Muay Thai fights, and that Valentine can get Getak tickets to the Muay Thai fight. And Steve is a little disgruntled about.
I've been here almost 2 years and I still haven't gone to.
He can't find anybody that wants to go with him. Maggie would go. However, it's like at 9 o'clock at night. They start very, very late for a tiny person. So in Muay Thai fights, there is at least one place on the island?
Oh, there's a couple, I think.
There are a couple?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and so you can train Muay Thai all over. You can even get a visa to train Muay Thai. Some people come, you see...
An education visa
It's
to train
education
Muay
visa.
Thai. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And some of the Muay Thai, I know there's at least one or two that will handle everything for you.
Right.
You just pay, they'll get your visa squared away, and you train Muay Thai.
Yeah,
On a
and,
visa.
and I'm
You can
guessing,
stay
I mean,
there.
doing it, having them do it for you, I think is quite a bit
Yes.
more expensive.
But it's
so if you want to
probably
train
the
Muay
easiest
Thai
way.
and you can contact a place before you get here and then do it yourself, it'll be probably, I'm going to go with like $500 less expensive to get the visa before you come. You can do a visa abroad versus visa from Thailand. So if you could get the visa abroad, then it's going to cost a lot less money. So then there's also the option of getting a visa agent. And again, this is probably out of the scope of this video, but I'm just saying you can actually go to a Muay Thai fight. This is the point I was trying to make.
Yes.
K-Tak was supposed to get a ticket and from Valentine, and the ticket is $750. You looked it up.
Well, they start at $750, but I think
For
that
children.
was for children.
And the
At one of the
highest
places,
price,
yeah.
highest price was 2,500 baht. So
3,000, I think, if you wanted the extra
oh,
VIP
okay.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
that's like
it's like $100.
it's like $100,
Yeah.
$90.
But your
let's say.
leather, yeah, it's fancy.
It's fancy.
I think 2,000 baht. At the place I looked, you can sit ringside in a chair.
Yeah. So 2,000 baht. I'll put it up.
Yeah.
All right. So then there's just and I don't know that that this is as important in this place because they're staying at this, fancy sort of very Western hotel. But people have asked how restaurants are here, just in general, in Koh Samui, in Thailand. I would say there's a couple key things that you want to understand. So when we get our food, when we go to a Thai restaurant, we refer to it as Thai rules. And Thai rules just mean generally, especially at the less posh places, that your food isn't all going to come at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. So if you get your food and it's hot, our rule is
Eat.
Thai rule is you eat. Because if you wait for everybody, like I finished my lunch yesterday before Steve even got his. So I don't like eating cold food, and this happens. And so it is the way it is. And so that's one of the rules.
So don't get upset.
So don't get upset.
Yeah, it
but
happens.
just eat.
And it's going to be delicious.
Enjoy it while it's hot.
And it's going to be cheap.
That's right. And then the next thing is when you're finished. I don't know that we see people clearing the table. They do and again, it's more of a Western
if you're
kind
at
of
a
restaurant.
nice hotel resort, something like that, but at some of the mom and pop places, they do it. Some of them, but some of them, when you're done, you
just get up and leave.
Ask for your check.
And sometimes, instead of clearing the drink beer bottles or soda bottles or whatever, they will just count them to remember how many you've had.
That's at a couple. There are a couple places that we've been frequently enough. Or that doesn't sound right.
No, that's right.
Okay, that we walk in and we just go to the cooler, grab the drinks for the kids, grab our beers, sit down.
Yeah.
And that's when they just leave them on the table. When they come in to give us a check,
They count them up.
they look but that place is. We don't want to get into a whole other restaurant thing, but it's a great restaurant.
I'll put the name of the restaurant.
Cheap.
It's in, I think, Mainam or Fisherman's Village.
No,
I'm not sure.
it's in Boat Put.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but very inexpensive. We love it, and it's the best crispy pork.
I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
we haven't had crispy pork everywhere, but we think it's the best crispy pork on Koh Samui. So it is amazing.
Yeah.
We have been there a lot lately, especially. But when you want your check, they're not going to come over and ask you for it. And it may not even seem like they want to give you your check. So the international symbol for check is this.
And they bring it.
Steve uses the hand, I just do this. The international symbol for I want the check is that. Now, the check, sometimes there's like just a number kind of circled on the bottom. Well, you can see what's added up. And it'll be written in Thai, in Thai script. So if you want to kind of itemize it, you're probably out of luck.
Or another one is they just type everything into a calculator.
Yeah, they do that sometimes too.
And then they show you the total, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
And just to play off that, and I know we're getting off the storyline a little bit, but this is helpful when you want to negotiate at a market or something like that all over Thailand. If you see something, it may not have a price on it, just ask, and they'll say, 1,000 baht, and they'll type in 1,000. And then you say, perhaps you realize that that's an extremely high price, so you maybe really do believe that 500 is what you could get someplace else. Then you say 500, and then
or haloi.
because if you say something in Thai, then they start talking back to you in Thai, and then that's never good. So anyway, sometimes they'll just, instead of accidentally saying the wrong number, they might just go back and forth with you on the calculator, and that's totally normal too. But again, when you get your check at places that are, especially a little more informal, it is pretty typical for you to have to ask for it, and for you to see it just kind of a big number circled at the bottom. All right, so then there's a spot a little bit later where this family, again, the family with the 3 adult children, is at dinner, and the youngest son turns to his dad, and he asked, I don't remember exactly the question, but the father said perhaps that the server was a ladyboy. Mm-hmm. So anybody that doesn't know about ladyboys in Thailand is very accepting of transgender people, and they want to dress as the other gender, then that's totally fine with them, and it's completely accepted here. So don't be surprised if you're coming from a small town or a small city. Don't be shocked. I mean, you will see this.
It's
and
great.
It's perfectly common.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere. All right. So moving on to the next part. There's a section in here where Chloe and Gary/Greg, because there's already the discussion about the fact that he's maybe 2 different people. Okay. So I think he's Gary in this one. So there is a discussion about the fact that Chloe and Gary met in Dubai, and that he's American and she's French. And she is just apoplectic. She cannot believe that he's accused her of being French because she's Canadian. And it is a very different thing. But the point that I wanted to make with this is that there is a very large French population on Koh Samui. As a matter of fact, there is a French school that is somehow certified as a proper French school by the French government. You take all the French is a particularly hard language to learn, from what I understand. I never got very, very far with it, but you have to take these tests to conjugate all of your verbs, and it is supported by the French government. So there's a large French population, and so you may not find a lot of French-speaking Thai people, but you might find a lot of other vacationers who are French, and so you might enjoy it that way. All right. And then, it's just a couple of other small things. When the 3 women are at dinner and they're watching the owner of the hotel sing, and which sounds amazing to me, their table is just in the sand. So their chairs are in the sand, their table is set in the sand, and they're eating dinner and watching the show in the sand. And I will also say that there is at least one place that we've gone more than once, and maybe we can put one of the sundown pictures on there.
there's a...
Well, no, but remember the sundown pictures that we took at Bangkok Seafood?
Yeah.
That way, we don't usually go out that late, maybe for dinner. This was during the week. But the sundown there was absolutely... Margaret took some sunset. There was absolutely beautiful. Margaret took some pictures, and if we can find those pictures, I want to try to put them up. Okay. And then, so that's Bangkok Seafood, and that's up in Maynam. Okay, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't on the show. But it's
No. But I'm just saying.
There's a lot of places you'll tables right on the beach.
Again, the show is this is not necessarily specifically about White Lotus. It's about things that you may want to do because you saw the White Lotus, or things that don't really happen, even though they showed it on the White Lotus. Like everyone wearing helmets. That doesn't really happen. But there is a way to eat at a not very expensive restaurant in the sand. All right.
Yep.
All over. And then this is the part where I don't know that we got to the bottom of things, but I asked you to look it up.
Why don't you talk?
Okay, I'm going to talk while I look it up. So again, the guy, the family man with the 3 adult children is on a phone call with the United States, and he's found out that a colleague of his has just had his office raided by the FBI. And my first thought, and I think it's because he's looking it up, I think it's because I watch a lot of things like Law and Order, or used to. My first thought was that he might not ever have to go back to the United States, and maybe he can just stay in Thailand, and then that would solve his problem about extradition. There is an extradition agreement between the United States.
Currently, the following countries have extradition treaties with Thailand.
America, United States of America.
United States of
So
America.
unfortunately for this guy,
Now we've hit our time limit.
right, Do you know what the time limit is?
Like 23 minutes.
Oh, well, we'll take some of this
People
out.
aren't going to sit down.
But so the channel is The Meyer the Merrier. And we would like you to like and subscribe to this video. We have 301 subscribers. We have to.
We're stuck there right
We're
now.
stuck at 301 subscribers. We would love more subscribers, and we would love to make more content. We plan on doing this about every episode of The White Lotus.
Or if there's something else you'd want to see or know about.
Yeah,
tell us.
but again, put something in the comment if you disagree with anything or you have further information about some of the
Observation.
observations. Thanks for watching.